Tappei has just released Arc 8 Chapter 5, and this video will be a summary of the chapter. The chapter begins with Subaru's perspective on the fight with Ishmael, as he, Beatrice and Lewis sneak up on Ishmael and launch their magic on him. Ishmael had learned that his body would regenerate and therefore made no attempt to block Subaru's attack, and that was his downfall. Ishmael was pierced with the Minya magic, and then he started to crystallize. He no longer regenerated. Yin magic seemed to be the weakness of these zombies. Even though the heart no longer pumps blood around the body, it still seemed like more of a vital point for these zombies. According to Beatrice, Yin magic freezes the target's time, causing them to be unable to regenerate. Subaru mutters that if Ishmael were alive and had a proper body, he wouldn't have been defeated. It's only because he relied on his immortal body that he lost. As Subaru looks on, Ishmael's body, which was crystallized, swung around. Ishmael's golden eye looked at his body as he tasted death a second time. We see that Ishmael, spurred on by Subaru's words, didn't give up. We see that he's only partially crystallized, and he runs forward and knocks a cannonball on the floor right at Subaru's head. In this process, Ishmael loses his left arm, which breaks away into shards. Lewis then pushes Subaru down and took the cannonball straight in the head, and she was blasted away like Team Rocket. Beatrice tells Subaru to focus. Even though Ishmael was cracking, Ishmael now knew that Minya was dangerous, and Beatrice launched magic which Ishmael avoided. Ishmael then ran up to Subaru, throwing him and Beatrice to the floor. Ishmael, with his only hand remaining, proceeded to strangle Subaru. However, since Beatrice was still in Subaru's arms, she casted Minya, hitting Ishmael in the chest. However, Ishmael ensured that his arm did not get hit, so he could continue to strangle Subaru. However, Todd mutters that Subaru is too merciful, as he cleaves Ishmael's head off. Tanza then followed up by kicking the head of Ishmael across the road, and Ishmael finally cracked into shards, being defeated. Subaru then thanked Todd for saving him. Subaru worries about Lewis, but we see she is fine, and only has a bloody head, which is wounded, which Beatrice can heal. We also see Rem and the others tried to escape the city whilst Todd and the rest fought Ishmael. The idea was that Todd and the rest would occupy Ishmael and then Katya and Rem can escape. Todd is shocked that Subaru has so many people with unusual skills around him, and he says this because he sees Beatrice healing Lewis. However, Todd says that their skills go to waste since Subaru entrusts his survival on the strength of other people. Todd continues to state that it not only applied to Ishmael, but also to Subaru, and Subaru knew that Todd was correct. Tanza tries to defend Subaru, but Todd says that he is right, and that Tanza or Lewis were the MVP in that fight. This made Tanza angry, but Todd continues by saying that there are monsters who are confident that they won't die because they are strong, and for other reasons, but all of them do not belong in any of those categories. Tanza was continuing to get angry, but Adora stepped in to cool off the situation. The group then regroup, and Lewis grabs Subaru's hand, and Subaru says that Rem can see her soon. However, with a slash of wind, everything changed. Tanza, who was standing there, widened her eyes. A tentacle-like object pierced her back and abdomen. She was pierced by a tentacle that originated from where Ishmael's head was. The scene changed. Ishmael's thoughts were a haze, as he chased the two fleeing enemies. The mutation that occurred in Ishmael's body grew beyond the intentions of the caster. Who knew what this monster would do after the two enemies who were fleeing were killed? The large man carried the small one. However, Ishmael was a creature with many tentacle-like limbs, and he could catch up to the man and pierce the man's back. Ishmael made sure to aim for their backs. He wanted them to flee in pain. If he went for their legs, the chase would be over. The man and boy ran into a building, and Ishmael, no, the monster, chased them. However, Ishmael still retained his good eyesight. Ishmael looked around the room, and all he saw was white powder. The monster then heard a voice that what would defeat it would not be magic or a technique, but science, a dust explosion. A spark then filled the room, and an explosion rang out, a dust explosion, which covered Ishmael in his entirety, burning him to ashes. The scene changes and we see Subaru outside coughing, and Subaru couldn't believe how powerful the attack would be. Ishmael's body burnt to ashes in the meantime. Subaru then calls out to Todd and asks if Todd is okay. After all, Todd was the one that lured the monster into the flour mill, which was the building that they created the dust explosion in. We see that Todd was also the person that prepared the spark, and it was Subaru who set up the flour. Todd says that he's alive. Todd, however, though, says that he nearly died alongside the explosion, and Subaru said that he told Todd what would happen. Todd said he understands the principle behind the explosion now, meaning that Todd has gained some science knowledge. Todd states he feels like he lost too much blood, and Subaru says they should run back to Beatrice, but Todd says that at least Katya should be happy with what he has done, stating that he's defeated a monster and got injured honorably, asking if Subaru would take all the credit for himself or would he share the credit. Subaru states that Todd cares about his fiancée, and Todd states of course, since she is his fiancée. Todd and Subaru get up and proceed to move forward, and the sound of wind being sliced is heard. Subaru wonders why this had to happen. Todd's axe was centimeters from Subaru's skull, restrained by the power of invisible providence. Subaru then asked Todd why for a second time. Todd then clicked his tongue and jumped backwards, creating distance. Todd's wounded demeanor disappeared. He seemed fine. Subaru asks why, saying he would have forgiven Todd, but Todd slowly pulled out a knife and stated that Subaru had eroded his trust. With that, Todd readied himself. This was the irreplaceable separation between Todd Fang and Natsuki Subaru, and the chapter ends. So again, I'm not too sure what Todd saw or why Todd lost his trust in Subaru. I feel like it's because of Subaru's mercy to Ishmael. That could have gotten everyone killed, because Subaru's words gave Ishmael desire to keep fighting, which nearly killed them all. So I feel like that's what it was.